How's it going, everybody? Charging Buffalo podcast here. I am Luke.
And I am Joe, and we are back after a little bit of an absence, but we're ready to talk about some Buffalo Sabres once again.
Yes, we are. I hope I hope we don't sound too different this week, but back to that old style, away from the
Google
stew.
Hangouts. Google Hangouts.
Google Hangouts. Back to Google. Let's call it as it is. Google Hangouts, everybody. That's what we're back to. Ain't in the stew anymore for a little while. But that doesn't mean the quality's gonna dip in the content.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we apologize if there's a little lag here and there, but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, we're in the process of getting sweaty with our equipment. Joe has his snowball mic with the windbreaker, if you will.
I even got the arm. The microphone
arm as well.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The Jets tied it. I'm sorry. At the time of this recording, the Jets are playing the Golden Knights. Tyler Myers just scored. Okay.
Oh, of course he did.
Yeah. That's okay. I had to say that because I'm rooting for the Jets right now. But what do we have on the docket today, Joe?
Okay. I just wanted to remind everybody right off the top that the Sabres won the lottery and Rasmus Dahlin is going to be a Buffalo Sabre in just, I don't know, 2 more months. They're about. No, it's May. Jesus Christ, it's May. It's next month. Rasmus Dahlin is going to be pulling that blue and gold sweater.
Oh, you're darn right.
He's going to be putting it on. I'm excited.
It's going to be fun.
But speaking of Rasmus Dahlin, we have partnered with Just Dishin Hockey, and we have a new shirt out for you all to order.
Yes.
Go over to justdishinhockey.com, and you can see the Moneyball t-shirt. Use code TCB at checkout and get 20% off. It's a nice shirt. It's got the Swedish crowns on there, and it's got the lottery ball combination. Oh, yeah. And they got the lottery ball combination 14614 that landed us Rasmus Dahlin. So, a lot to be excited about. Go buy that shirt, support the cause. And we're also giving away 4 of the shirts, I believe, 2 on Twitter and 2 on our Instagram at The Charging Buff. If you want to enter, if you haven't already, we should be announcing that in the coming weeks whenever the shirt gets released.
Getting quite exciting around these parts.
Yes, imagine if they didn't win the lottery. How depressing, like, talking about this team would be. It was during the season, but, like, you know, this young Swedish defenseman really changes everything.
There would be no hope at all next season, but now it's like
zero hope.
Look at that. There's reason to care again. Yeah, this one guy.
Because, like, this guy has the potential to be the best defenseman in the whole league. Like, that's his ceiling, the best defenseman in the entire NHL. And he's going to be playing here. He's not going to be playing in Ottawa or anything where we have to worry about facing him 5 times a year and him killing us in the playoffs. Like, they have to worry about that with us. Like, this is great. Words cannot describe how great winning the lottery is for Buffalo. Like, I didn't anticipate this at all. I barely watched any Rasmus Dahlin highlights, games, anything during the season because, like, just the odds were stacked up against us.
We have the distinguished honor of choosing Mr. Dahlin.
Yes, they get to pick the guy they want. We don't have to worry about picking Brady Tkachuk 2nd overall anymore. Rest in peace. You know, Ottawa, Montreal. Montreal, Carolina. I don't think Carolina will take Tkachuk 2nd, but I'm worried about Montreal fans because, you know, they're not that smart over there, and you never know. Possibly Brady Tkachuk goes 3rd overall in Montreal, which would be great for Buffalo. But actually, Zadina would be going to Ottawa in that case. So, you know, Zadina's going to be in the division either way, unless he goes 2nd.
Right. I'm very much looking forward to this draft. Much more exciting than last year's. I think last year's draft it's kind of becoming more impressive in hindsight now.
Yeah, I've been saying this all along. If you go back last year, I've been saying that 2017 draft got a bad rap from the media because they were saying he was a guy's player, and you look, you know, I got Future Watch in front of me, the Hockey News. the top 4 prospects are all from last year's draft. Number 1, Casey Middlestat. 2, Elias Pettersson. 3, Miro Heiskanen. 4, Cale Makar. And then 5 is Dylan Strome. And then there's another string of 2017 picks. Martin Necas, Ellie Tolvanen, Robert Thomas, Cody Glass. Like, that was a good draft. Lots of potentially elite talent at the top end.
Oh, and is also currently dealing with a thumb injury.
Yeah. And Middlestat, a groin injury as well, if I remember. That's why he couldn't play at the World Championships with Team USA.
Right. Oh, boy. Oh.
Which is unfortunate, but I would have liked to see Middlestat playing with the likes of Patrick Kane, but, you know, it is what it is. USA, they just beat the Czech Republic, I want to say. I haven't really been paying attention. Have you?
I have not. I've been working throughout most of the games. I would have liked to be able to tune in. I didn't realize, first of all, how long this tournament goes on for.
Yeah, it goes on for 2-3 weeks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's probably almost been a month. Not, maybe not so, but almost 3 weeks, definitely.
It's been at least 2 weeks so far,
yeah.
I think. And speaking of the world champ, he got the game-winning goal against Russia, I believe. Yes.
This last game?
McDavid gave it to him. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. O'Reilly's having a decent tournament.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get more into O'Reilly later, but
everyone clowns on the guy, but I mean, he's still in my estimation, he's a great hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets a lot of flack. And
later,
the more I think about it, maybe we were too hard on him with the whole "I lost my passion for the game." It's
remember, this was right after the season ended, and we didn't know if we were gonna be picking first overall. You know, things have cooled down. It's okay. It's okay in Saberland right now.
What a stupid thing for fans to get upset about. It's just a thing
to say in the first place. You're making almost $8 million. He's in actual dollars. He's like one of the highest paid players in the league, and you're saying you're losing passion for your love for the game. You're filthy rich, man. I don't know. Of course, money doesn't cause happiness, but man,
that is correct. I mean, just.
I don't want to get philosophical in this at all, but
no. I mean, it's true, but still, it's just stupid to get mad at the guy. He's just frustrated, and I should have said this when this was news, because this is how I kind of felt deep inside. And what I wanted to say is just how stupid was this? This is making headlines
in the season. You know, it was
the season was over.
The season was over, and. You know, a guy who's supposed to be a leader on the team is talking about how he's lost love for the game. Like, that's something to talk about amongst fans. And that it sounds like O'Reilly's going to go. And of course, we'll get more into that towards the end of today's podcast. But we're going to move on. You want to talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs for a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. You aren't watching this game currently, are you?
I'm currently in my basement right now, and the TV is not working, so I'm not able to watch.
Dustin Byfuglien just did it again. He just pulled another man off of his goaltender with one arm.
Wow.
James Neal just went crashing into Hellebuck, and that
guy is a mammoth.
Yes.
Dustin Byfuglien is a freak.
Byfuglien is a unit.
Mm-hmm.
He reached into the net with one hand and yanked James Neal out. And it was funny because they had the net cam zoomed in on Neal's face, and that was the camera shot that they had going when Neal got pulled out. But thank goodness Hellebuck is okay. But this series, and of course, I'm a Jet supporter. I am a Jet fan. And watching this series, I haven't had this feeling in a while because the Sabres haven't been in this spot in so long. But with the season the Jets have had and all that stuff, watching them at times just get manhandled these last couple games and completely, how should I say it, outplayed, I guess you will, reminds me a lot of the 2007 Sabres versus Senators, where we just watched
Yeah.
helplessly as the Sabres got picked apart and won just one game of the series. But
Yeah,
it's like,
out in 5.
it's like, oh boy, I get that feeling again where maybe it's just because they're down, but where there's a series going on too. And have you been able to watch much of this series?
I've been watching every game this series. Actually, I've actually had time. I'm not working nights as much anymore, but I'm really liking that Washington Tampa series. It's exciting hockey. That game 1, it was probably the best hockey game I've watched all year. There was just a period of time where it was just up and down the ice, so many scoring chances, and like when you're just watching Sabres hockey for the most part, like it's just eye opening. It's unbelievable. Even though like for most teams that's the usual, but not for Buffalo, which that will hopefully end soon.
Right, and it's a great goaltender duel too. Braden Holtby had a bit of a bad season, but he, in my opinion, he's still one of the best in the world.
Seems like he's turning it around. Oh, fantastic goalie, and he's Washington's guy, and they're gonna probably have to part with Philip Grubauer, and we're probably gonna talk about Grubauer later. I believe somebody asked about the goaltending situation, potential options. So we'll get into that. But I think, and I hate to say this, but Vegas is legit, and I think they might win the Stanley Cup. And I hate to say that.
There's no stopping a hot team in the playoffs.
And they're good, too. Like, this is not fool's gold anymore. I'm pretty sure I've called them that multiple times, but watching them closely throughout the playoffs, like, they are just so good. Jonathan Marchessault, that guy's legit. That's a player.
Yeah.
He's fast. He can score. Like, he's flat out dominant at points. And you got William Karlsson, who just comes out of nowhere. Like, I don't think he ever scored 10 goals in a season in his career anywhere.
Nope, never had more
almost
than
9 goal scorer. Do you have 40 this year?
Pretty 43, close. I believe.
Yeah, my God. And like, just Vegas, like, I don't want to give McPhee all the credit, but like, he just took advantage of dumb GMs. That's it.
Yeah.
And like, it annoys me that he was nominated for GM of the year because, for God's sakes, they had to take a player from every team. It's not rocket science. You take the best player, and if the team wants to work out a deal with you, you're going to take the deal because it only benefits you. And I don't understand why they're getting so much credit. And you look at Cheveldayoff too. I mean, like, you're probably going to get mad at me, but I think that's ridiculous.
Oh, come on.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
You're dang right I'm mad.
Yeah, but I think it's ridiculous that he wins GM of the year because, like, I don't know. People were talking about how this guy should have been fired, or like they extended him, and everyone was mad. Jets fans were mad that Maurice and Cheveldayoff were extended because he didn't do anything for 7 years. They just drafted and hit on all. Wait, let me finish. They hit on all their first round picks, and that's supposed to happen, But it took them a very long time.
But how many teams actually do hit on all their picks?
I mean, yeah, they really did hit on all their first round picks. If you look back, I can't think of a year where they didn't. I mean, Josh Morrissey, there were question marks around him, but he's certainly panned out at this stage.
If anything, one question...
Logan Stanley, that the jury's still out on him, but I don't consider him a top-end prospect anymore.
I'd say the jury is still out as well on Jack Roslovic, just because that was...
Oh, I love Jack Roslovic. Jack Roslovic, 19 on Hockey News' top 100 prospects, too. I think he's good, but I don't know. Yeah, he's not cracking the lineup consistently, is he? I don't know.
No, he's been scratched most of these playoffs, but Mark Scheifele was the first ever pick they made as the new Jets, and that was a home run.
Overall, 2011, and that was a reach at that point, too. If you look back, Winnipeg, people were shocked that Scheifele went that high, and justifiably so. He has earned it. Probably should have gone higher if you look back.
Yeah, he
guy has really turned into a player. That guy, he's
you want to talk about players? Scheifele is a player.
That's a number one center. He can do it all. I love Mark Scheifele.
Future captain, in my opinion, he should be.
100%.
Connor Hellebuyck, moving on to him in this series, he has he's imploded.
Mm-hmm.
As we're speaking, he just let in
another one.
Yep, this is just this is ringing the sounds of Dan Cloutier, if you will, or this is beach balls Buck. We should call him because that was just bad.
I can't believe Vegas. Vegas is going to win the Stanley Cup.
Vegas is going to win the Stanley Cup.
And it sickens me because, Vegas fans, they've never experienced the pain that Buffalo fans have. They haven't lost their two best players.
So no one gets offended on the ice.
Yes, on the ice. But they haven't experienced losing your two best players on the same day to free agency. They haven't experienced, I don't know,
they haven't experienced no goal.
They haven't
experienced Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final.
It just sickens me. I don't want them to win the Stanley Cup in the first year. This is ridiculous. It's not fair. Not to just Buffalo, but around the whole entire league. You look at the Washington Capitals. They've been around longer than Buffalo. 1967, if my memory serves me correct.
74.
Yeah, even worse. Like, these teams have been grinding it for 40-plus years, and they still have nothing to show for it. And this expansion team just comes out of nowhere. They should have been, because you're paying $500 million, and the NHL had to give Vegas a good team because, look what happened to Atlanta. All these failed franchises, Kansas City, like these teams suck right out the gate, and you're already in a non-traditional hockey market. Who's going to want to go and watch a team suck when you can, just go to the casino and hit up the,
plus
the blackjack tables or whatnot? It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, slots. But this is annoying. Hit the slots. Yes, that was it.
On top of this, the NFL is coming for this market in about 2 years or so when the Raiders move into town. So the NHL knows we got to strike while the iron's hot. And the expansion was announced well before the move of the NFL to Las Vegas was announced. But still, the NHL, they had a pretty big hand up on the NFL with this draft that they gave the Golden Knights. So
yeah. And nobody expected them to be this good, though. Like, most people were criticizing the moves that McPhee made. I know I listened to our reaction podcast from after the expansion draft. Like, we were scratching our heads at most of these picks, and it's working out.
I remember saying they wouldn't be a bottom feeder, but I didn't mean they'd be this good.
Nobody, not even McPhee or
I thought they'd be like Florida Panthers good. Like,
I still I'm not gonna contradict myself here. I thought they'd be bottom 5, 100%. I'm shocked, and this is horrible for Seattle because you would think that the GMs would stay away from side deals because that is how Vegas is what they are. Making the side deal with Florida to get Marchessault and Smith, the side deal with Minnesota to get Tuck and Holla. Those are 4 top 6 players that you got just based off of side deals, and you got a bunch of picks and prospects as well. I feel bad for the Seattle GM because that is going to be lots of expectations from those fans, and they're just not going to be able to meet them. And it's unfortunate because I think Seattle deserves success right off the bat, just like Vegas, but not a cup. Please no.
Their first year in the league, and they're this good, this promising.
But I wouldn't even call them promising, really, because like if you look at their roster, like there's expiring contracts, like Neal and Perron. Both of them are going to be free agents. I would imagine that they could sign one of them. Probably not both.
I think it would be James Neal.
Yeah, I agree. I think Perron will go hit the open market. But imagine if he was both of them. Like, those are 2 top 6 players out the door, and you don't even have a farm system or anything where some guy can just come up. Maybe Cody Glass can step in, play third line center for you, but I don't see any of their prospects coming up in the foreseeable future.
I don't think I mentioned this on the previous show, but so much of this team's success is owed to Fleury.
Could you Fleury imagine has been phenomenal.
Imagine Malcolm Subban think he could take them this far. Like, where would they be with Malcolm Subban as their goaltender if Fleury wasn't available?
Well, it seems like every goaltender that suits up for Vegas all of a sudden becomes amazing. You know, Malcolm Subban, the people were writing him off as a bust. He got picked up on waivers.
And he had a great year for the most part.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
And, you know, now all of a sudden people are pegging him as the goalie of the future, which, you know, good for him. I liked Malcolm Subban going into the draft. And, you know, good for him. And Boston's probably kicking themselves for waiving him.
Yeah. So Subban there, and then I think all their goalies got a win this year, except for Dylan Ferguson, of course. But
yeah, Ferguson.
Oscar Dansk got a win. Lagasse got a win.
Yeah.
Subban.
Ferguson, he was a 7th-round pick of Dallas, I think, last year. Yes. Imagine being drafted in the 7th round and you just step into the NHL for a game on an emergency recall. It's got to be a dream come true.
Yeah. Oh, what a save. But yeah, Ferguson. Yeah, he was in Dallas. That's right.
Yeah, he got drafted by Dallas in the 7th round. And
they played for Kamloops this year, right? The Blazers?
Yeah, he was part of the, I want to say, Mark Mathot trade.
Yes. Yeah, that would have to be it. Because what else did they make with the Stars?
Okay, let's get into Sabres talk here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably do that. Playoff talk is always fun, talking about the Vegas Golden Knights, but there are more pressing issues for the Buffalo Sabres. So, first on our list here, new jerseys for next year, quite possibly. Greg Wyshynski of Puck Daddy. Is he still a Puck Daddy? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll look. Yes, Greg Wyshynski. He says the NHL says we'll have 24 to 26 teams with Adidas third jerseys for the 18-19 season. Some old designs, some completely new. And somebody was kind enough to send this to me in the Charging Buffalo Instagram DMs. And if you look closely, it looks like Columbus, St. Louis, the Canucks, Capitals, Avalanche, Coyotes, Devils, Ducks, Flames, Flyers, Hurricanes, Islanders, Kings.
Are you looking at the...
in Winnipeg, all getting new alternate jerseys next year.
Are you looking at the Adidas style guide that supposedly...
No, it looks like a leaked document that was revealed.
Okay.
Not from, but I think Wyshynski said 24 to 26 by my count, 4, 8, 12, 16, so that's 19 teams that I just mentioned. So I would assume the other 5 or so alternate jerseys are teams that had these jerseys in the past that they're bringing back. Like for Buffalo, for example, would probably be the Winter Classic jersey that they wore on January. I don't know. I don't think I mentioned Ottawa, maybe O jersey that they wore last year too.
I'm not expecting anything other than the Winter Classic as our alternate.
Yeah, that's my guess. I'm not sure if they would change it up, but what I'm hoping for is a royal blue version of the Winter Classic jersey. I think that would be amazing.
I think we'll see that in a few years, maybe 1920, 2019, 2020. Yeah.
Ideally, they would do what the Penguins did, use this as their alternate jersey, and then slowly just make it their full-time away and home jerseys. Kind of like what Buffalo did in 2011 when they had their current jersey
Yeah,
as their third jersey, and then they slowly made it their main jerseys.
we have
So,
been wearing that forever.
it's been so long.
Yeah.
2011, they've been wearing these jerseys for. Of course, they did the slight modifications to it this season, but
Well,
it's
even
better
when it
than
was
this
an
look.
alternate, we've been wearing it since 2008, 2009.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. My goodness, it's been
So it's
almost
been a
10
decade.
years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay, we'll move on from the jerseys. Sabres signed Swedish defenseman Lawrence Pilot to a 2-year entry-level contract that with a cap hit of $925,000, the maximum on an entry-level deal, I believe. And
Yep.
this has been out there for a while. They just made it official the other day. Pilot, of course, won Defenseman of the Year in the SHL, which, SHL is one of the best leagues in the world. You can argue AHL, SHL, KHL for second or third spot. And that's pretty good. He led all defensemen in scoring in the Swedish league. And, this guy, and just adding another puck moving defenseman to the system, I would say he probably competes for a roster spot out of camp. You look at what they have on the blue line right now. It's a log jam back there, and they're gonna have to move some guys out. If you look at the locks, like if there's no moves to be made, Scandella's on the team, Ristolainen's on the team if he's not traded. Nobody's taken, and I think it would be like Pilot, Gooley, McCabe, Nelson all battling for those final two spots. And you never know if there's going to be more trades too. So, obviously I think Beaulieu's a goner in that case. I don't think
Mhm.
there's any way he's going to be on the team next year. He'll be
I'm
waived if they can't trade him.
I'm very excited for Pilot or Pilot, however you say it. I hope
Yeah, I think it's Pilot.
Pilot it is.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
very excited for him. Just imagine just that Swedish defense that we can have. How beautiful it will be. Oh man, I'm salivating at the thought. I'm getting excited again for next year.
I think we got to temper expectations. I think they're going to be fun, but I think they're not going to be good. I don't know. That's my fear. But, unfortunate. But have you watched any of Pilot highlights at all yet?
I have watched a little bit. I know that from what I've seen, he has a killer shot.
Yeah,
I love
a
it.
good
He
shot,
has a
and
great shot.
he's a good puck moving defenseman. He can skate the puck up the ice. He can like there. I think we got a gif of a breakout pass that he did. It just phenomenal. Good vision. I'm excited. He's going to probably be at development camp. He's 22.
Well,
Like,
I think
development camp is going to be fun this year. You look at Dahlin, Pilot, the 32nd pick in the draft. Middlestat will be back. Nylander will be there. Andrew Ogilvy, who they signed, will probably be there too. It's going to be a fun camp to go to this year.
I think this has certainly been one of the better of all the out of the NHL signings that have been made in the off season for half the league.
Without a doubt. I would. Toronto just signed that Russian defenseman. I can't pronounce his name, but I hear he's pretty good.
That Russian defenseman, I can't pronounce his name. That narrows it down.
Yeah. I think he's playing at the World Championships. And then there's this. I know we talked about this guy in the beginning of the season. I think it's like, Kislevic. He's like 28. He was supposed to come over, but I haven't heard anything. I heard Buffalo was interested in him, but I doubt that they bring him in since they got Pilot too.
I'm so heartbroken that Antipin isn't coming back.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know what? Like, they ruined him.
What a wasted opportunity.
Like, he was a talented guy, but like, I don't know. Like, people would, whenever he'd be scratched, they'd be like, "Oh, why is this guy not playing?" But it's not like he's not a great defenseman. He's good, but he should have been playing. But it's not like it was like a crime that he was sitting in the press box.
I mean, when you have like Matt Tennyson in though and stuff, then it is
true.
But like,
I think it's confirmed he's going back to Russia, but I would imagine that Buffalo will qualify him just so they hold on to his rights. That would be my guess, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just let him go and then he can come back as he pleases. But I highly doubt he would want to come back to the NHL.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, on to Glenn Gulutzan, former Calgary Head Flames. Calgary Flames head coach uh, was rumored to be potentially coming to Buffalo, but that was shot down by, I want to say, John Vogel. Elliot Friedman reported that there was a contract on the table for Gulutzan to be an assistant in Buffalo, and that was shot down. And then Friedman said, oh, perhaps he wants to go closer to where his family is right now in Edmonton. So it looks like Gulutzan will be going to Edmonton. And similar thing happened last year. I want to say Buffalo was going to get Jack Capuano to come and be an assistant coach. And I think he might have gone to Edmonton too, but I can't remember. I don't know.
Wait. He's not in Vegas, is he?
I don't think so. I'll look it up. Hold on.
Okay. Because I remember he was with a team that had like a pretty good coaching staff, or that had a pretty good season. I for some reason I feel like it was Vegas. What's that?
It might be Edmonton. I'm looking right now though. Yeah.
Edmonton. I don't think it could have been New Jersey. I'm just trying to think of some names that are coming to me here. But I feel like he went somewhere that
Florida.
Okay, Florida. Okay.
Associate head coach.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it sucks to lose out on two guys who would be fantastic assistant coaches. I've been saying it for a while now. I think that they should switch up the assistants, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, Rasmus Dahlin changes everything, and it'll all be fine and dandy in Buffalo next year.
Yes.
But of course, anything can happen. We don't know. Shall we move on to the hot trade rumors that have been going on this week?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so first one, Rasmus Ristolainen to the Edmonton Oilers. Maybe. Ryan Rishaug of TSN, I think he was on the radio and he mentioned that Edmonton wants to go hard after a big name right shot defenseman. I would not call Ristolainen a big name.
No.
And because Ristolainen is viewed as like a horrible defenseman in hockey circles around the league.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think he's one of the worst defensemen in the NHL. There's one guy that said if he was a GM and Ristolainen was on waivers, he wouldn't even claim him. So, I mean, so Rishaug apparently said that he wouldn't be surprised if Edmonton would trade the 10th overall pick and Oscar Klefbom to Buffalo for Rasmus Ristolainen. And, I've seen a lot of responses to this rumor. I mean, call a rumor, if anything, but people are saying it's the best trade you could ever make. And people are saying why would we ever do this? So I'm on the side of, if you can get 10 and Oscar Klefbom for Ristolainen, you take it and don't look back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but that's armed robbery. The 10th overall pick, you're looking at a guy like, I don't know, Ty Smith, Noah Dobson, Joel Farabee. If a miracle happens, Oliver Wahlstrom or Quinn Hughes, Adam Boqvist slide there, but you never know. Maybe even an Evan Bouchard. And those defensemen, they have the potential to maybe even be better than Ristolainen. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're getting Klefbom on top of that. That's the deal of the century. That's fantastic. That would be a great deal for Buffalo if that was on the table. And of course, I would listen to the Bobcast this morning actually, and Bob McKenzie said that deal was never on the table. It was just speculation. That Ristolainen deal has not been talked about yet, as far as he knows.
I don't think Klefbom is anything special either.
He's just as good I would say he's just as good. And I've been saying this all year. Rasmus Ristolainen is not a number one defenseman. I don't even think he's a number two defenseman. Mm-hmm. People talk about how the minutes that he plays. Who else is going to play those minutes? Look at the team.
Yeah.
Like Ristolainen is a top 4 defenseman. I think he's a 3-4 guy, but like he has to play the minutes because there's just nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to put it into perspective. I don't know.
I'm not sold on the whole idea of this trade. I'm sure if it happened, I'd be very happy because we'd get a good first round selection,
top 10 pick,
and still get a good player at that. But I mean, I didn't believe the rumors one bit when I first heard them. In fact, I was like, what the hell is everyone talking about? Klefbom for Ristolainen. This isn't going to happen in a million years because Edmonton wouldn't be so stupid to make that trade, I don't think.
Oh, I think they would be.
I know Chiarelli is a pretty big
Chiarelli would have traded Taylor Hall for Ristolainen. That's apparently what the ask was. Ristolainen for Hall. I don't know if you heard about that or not.
I did not.
Yeah, that's a shame because Taylor Hall is one of the best players in the league now.
Yep.
And there's still people that say, "Oh, I wouldn't have done it," because they're delusional and think he's actually number 1 defenseman. Yeah, was the number 1 defenseman on this team, but and that's the best part about getting Dahlin because he puts Ristolainen back into his place where he should be on the second pair. Now, may that not be right away, but eventually Ristolainen will be where he's supposed to be on the second pair.
And maybe Ristolainen will be more effective with less ice time.
Yes,
because his draws will show less. He'll have a different role, and Dahlin will take on most of the heavy lifting, if you will, in the defensive game.
Mm-hmm. And Jared was talking about this on Twitter the other day. I saw it, and he was like, I think he said something along the lines of, people are talking about how Ristolainen gets all these points. That's because mostly his points come on the power play.
Mm-hmm.
And when Dahlin is here, he's probably going to be taking that spot on the number 1 power play unit, and that's naturally going to take away a lot of Ristolainen's points.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not. I don't mean to be hypercritical over Ristolainen here, but of course I'd rather keep him than trade him. But if you're getting a deal you cannot refuse, you have to trade him. Mm-hmm. They have to shake up the core, and I think they're going to explore offers on all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
If possible.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Scale 1 to 10. Ristolainen getting traded. What do you think?
Oh man, 4.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking
I really don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It
would have to be a deal exactly like that. Klefbom and 10. I don't think they would do it for anything less than that.
Can I segue into our next topic here?
Yep, go ahead.
I think that's about as likely as us acquiring John Tavares in free agency this offseason. Mm-hmm. Lots of people talk about him. I don't happen in a million years. I'm sorry.
Yeah, was it Gord Miller, TSN? He was I think he was on the radio in, I want to say Montreal or Ottawa.
Yeah.
And he said that the Sabres winning the draft lottery changes everything for them. And he said that John Tavares could be attracted to Buffalo because of getting Rasmus Dahlin. They have Jack Eichel. They have Casey Mittelstadt. They're starting to build that young core of solid players up. And then now you got the number 1 pick. You got the connection with his uncle to Buffalo. Of course, John Tavares, the lacrosse player, played for the Buffalo Bandits for a very long time. One of the best lacrosse players of all time. And yeah, you got that connection and the proximity to Toronto. If you don't want to play in Toronto, Buffalo's the next best thing. You're right there, and you're also in a hockey crazed market. Tavares wants to win, and he wants to play in a market where they're passionate about winning, and the fans too. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Tavares came here, but I mean, is it realistic? Possibly, but if I look at the other options like St. Louis, San Jose, those teams are Stanley Cup contenders if Tavares goes there. If Tavares comes here, is Buffalo a playoff team? Yeah, probably. But I don't know if they can win the Cup next year if Tavares comes.
No, and Darren Dreger said, and this is coming from the Charger Buffalo Twitter, a retweet tweet, said that Buffalo, this was on Gord Miller saying Buffalo would be a top contender for Tavares. and he sees it as a long shot, and that's what I
Mhm.
think. I think at this point, it's an absolute pipe dream for us to get Tavares. I don't want to say I don't want him, but I just think, where does he fit in? You know what I
I
mean?
think you have to. If Tavares wants to come here, you have to make it work.
Yeah. If
You
he
know,
wants to come here, then I don't
you,
think we need to go out of our way to woo this guy when we don't know what Bottrell is made of yet, drafting
yeah.
wise by himself. I think I'd rather take the shot and just let Bottrell.
What's Tavares? A top 20 player in the league, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Top
Top 10.
15, top 10. Yeah. If
Top
a
10.
top if a
He's a
top 10
franchise player.
player, if a top 10 player wants to come to your team, you let him come to your team. Like, it's
Then you make
simple
it
as
work.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't worry about, oh, what we have to pay Sam Reinhart. No, you trade Sam Reinhart and you trade Ryan O'Reilly and you make it
Yeah.
work. Oh, we already have Eichel and Dahlin and Middlestat. Well, sorry, John Tavares beats out Casey Middlestat at this point in time. So you worry about the cap ramifications later.
You aren't saying trade Casey.
No, I'm not saying trade Casey.
Okay. Okay.
In the event where, oh my goodness, how are we going to be able to pay Casey Middlestat? Like, you worry about that later, you know?
Right.
We'll cross that bridge when you get there. Because if you look back, you know, it sounds eerily similar to 2 years ago when Stamkos was a topic of discussion amongst fans. Like, oh, we have to pay Sam Reinhart. Oh, we have to pay all these guys. Justin Bailey's going to make it $5 million by that point. Like, no. Because, you know, sometimes things just don't work out the way you plan. And, you know, if there's one guarantee, John Tavares is going to be great next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that. He's going to be a good player for a very long time, and you pay the good players and you build your team around Jack Eichel, John Tavares, Rasmus Dahlin, and then everybody else, see you bye. You know, like what Chicago did, but minus Brent Seabrook, because you don't want to put yourself in cap jail like the Blackhawks did when they gave Seabrook that long-term deal when he was 28, 29 years old. He's got like 6 years left.
I can tell you one thing that I am certain of, and that is that Tavares will not be an Islander next year.
Oh, yeah, I'm almost positive Tavares is going elsewhere. I
think the final bridge has been burned, and all because of Garth Snow. Good job. Good
Well,
going.
you know, if there's one silver lining here for the Islanders, Lou Lamoriello is probably going to be either the GM or some president of some sort there. So maybe he can convince him to stay. But, you know, if there's one thing that can convince them to stay, convince Tavares to stay, you look at what Matt Barzal did last year, and then they have the 10th or the 11th and 12th pick, or 10th and 11th pick in the draft this year. So there's a lot. Even if Tavares leaves, you know, you still got a solid foundation of young players to build around there.
If you get some defense and mostly goaltending, really, in Brooklyn,
is not good.
Yeah,
and their goaltending is just
on paper bad. Though they're good, but on the ice they're not good.
It's Johnny Boychuk's not getting any younger.
Right.
You know, Nick Leddy is a pretty good defenseman, and you know, as far as prospects go, they're going to lose. Probably going to lose Calvin DeHaan to free agency. I think Thomas Hickey is going to be a free agent too. So you're losing 2 of your top 4D right there, and then they're paying like these like fringe NHL defensemen on long-term contracts. I forget their name. Played for the Erie Otters. The name is escaping me. I'm sure I'll remember it in a minute or so. But, you know, the defense is a question mark, and they don't have that many good defense prospects that come to mind right away. I got the magazine in front of me. I'll look for it. But, you know, the Islanders' the future's up in the air. Their arena deal, who knows what's even going on there. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the Islanders' top prospects right now. You know, got Ilya Sorokin, the goaltender, plays in the KHL. He's a great young goaltender. You got Devin Taves. He's 24. You know, he probably is in the NHL next year, considering that they're losing some guys. And then you got the defenseman Sebastian Aho, which I don't know how he went undrafted twice. This guy's actually a really good prospect, and I'm excited about him for the Islanders. But besides those, you know, they got drafted Robin Salo in the second round last year, too. He's a pretty good prospect as well, out of Finland. So, you know, If I'm the Islanders, I'm drafting Bodie Wild no matter what if he's still there with their second first-round pick because, or if one of the big-time defensemen slide to 11.
I've pulled up the Islanders roster. They've had this season. Brandon Davidson was another one of their defenders who I forgot about.
He might be a free agent too. I'm not sure.
Tomas Hickey is another one. Scott Mayfield and Adam Pelech. Ryan Pollock as well.
Adam Pelech. They're paying they gave him a 5-year deal. You don't give depth defensemen 5-year deals. I'm sorry.
And then Dennis Seidenberg.
Yeah, Seidenberg's a free agent, I think.
Yeah, he's 36 years old.
Jeez. They're a mess. And they're paying Thomas Greiss a lot of money for a while, too. So, if they lose John Tavares, that's not looking good.
Well, Barzal is going to be the face of that franchise then. Absolutely.
Can he handle pressure? Is he going to be able to live up to those expectations?
I mean, 85 points.
Yeah, that's legit. Barzal's a legit player. Yeah.
Yeah, that is bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Leddy at 42 points as well.
I love Nick Leddy. I'd love him on this team.
Mm-hmm. Anders Lee just continues to do it.
Part of me is always saying oh my God, I wish we could get a guy like Anders Lee, but I just don't want anything to do with John Tavares' wingers anymore because we've just been bitten by them too many times. But you just never know. You just never
10-point improvement though on last season.
Well, he had over 40 goals, didn't he?
He had 40 goals this year, 22 assists.
Jeez,
he was a minus 25. Yeah.
Wow. It's not that surprising, though, considering how bad the Islanders' defensive goaltending was. So I'm not going to criticize him for having bad plus minus. But we'll get back into Ryan O'Reilly here. I mentioned the Bobcast a little earlier, and Bob McKenzie had some thoughts on Buffalo's future going forward with their quote-unquote core players. So Bob McKenzie says, in my mind, the Sabres are open for business. After the exit interviews were done, I think they realized they really need to make changes to their core. I don't think it's a fire sale there, but I do think that if they get a call that's on just about anyone besides Eichel or the first overall pick, they're going to listen. I feel the player most like veteran center, Ryan O'Reilly. He's a core guy, and if you're going to affect the culture change, you're going to need to move out a core guy, which makes sense. You can't just say, oh, we're going to change the culture and then keep the same guys who have been around this losing for their whole entire career. O'Reilly made the playoffs once with Colorado, but, he hasn't even sniffed the playoffs since before when his career was young. Kenzie continues with, I think the more practical reason why the Sabres are where they are right now on trading, reason why the Sabres are right now intent on trading O'Reilly is that the Sabres are trying to surround Eichel and Dahlin with younger players. And, when he says they're intent on trading O'Reilly, he's a goner, right? Is he thinking that
if they're intent on it, then it's not going to be hard to trade one of the best face-off men in the NHL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did he break the face-off record or something like that this year? That I feel like that kind of
must have broke some record.
Yeah. And he says he should be the type of guy that will fetch multiple pieces, and what the Sabres are trying to do by surrounding Eichel and Dahlin with more players of similar age, this might be the way to do it. Now, the next question is, who would be interested in Ryan O'Reilly? And the answer is multiple teams. Everyone needs a center. Two that I would note in particular so far are the Carolina. I understand teams interested are being told that they would need to be a Mike Richards to LA from Philadelphia kind of deal. He was 26 at the time, and the return was 22-year-old Wayne's Braden Shen, who was the 5th overall pick, second-round pick. I think the Sabres are kind of angling for that one really solid young player, one top-notch prospect, soon-to-be NHL player, and a pretty significant pick. He says many teams would probably probably want to know if they have a shot at John Tavares before making a move on O'Reilly. Price could go up after Tavares is signed, as teams will be more desperate. So, full saver next year. I'm sorry, I just cannot see it. I think he's gone. I don't know about you, but he's done.
I don't want to say he's gone. I'm in the same realm as the Ristolainen thing. Something's got to give, obviously, and something will give, but
something
I don't know.
Has to give. If O'Reilly, Ristolainen, Reinhart, Oposo, all these quote unquote core guys are all on the team next year, like Botterill's not doing his job. I'm sorry, but one of the core has to go, at least one.
Right.
And I don't know if you count Leonard in as a core player. I think he's gone no matter what. I just don't think they're going to bring him back. I just want to see change. You know, it's sad seeing this losing every single year, and I just want all the horrific memories of this team gone. Like if they move out everybody, I don't even care. Keep Eichel, keep Dahlin, keep Middlestead. Everyone else can go for all I care. I really don't care at all. But yeah, and then he brings up Carolina and Montreal. You know, Carolina entices me more because they're rumored to be open for business. GM Don Waddell, he said that they're having trade discussions on all of their players, and you know that includes, Jeff Skinner and Justin Falk, and I guess they're getting calls on Noah Hannafin too. So I believe everyone's for sale except for Sebastian Aho and Martin Necas, which justifiably so. Those two are phenomenal young players.
Aho is the only one who was named as being not available, but I suppose they weren't counting prospects.
Yeah, there's no way they would trade Martin Necas. That guy's going to be their number one center of the future. I think that he's that good.
Yeah,
but you know, Carolina entices me more than Montreal because if I look at Montreal, they don't really have the high end prospects that Carolina has, and I don't think that Montreal has the good enough young players on their roster in general. You know, Drouin entices me, but they're not going to trade Jonathan Drouin. Galchenyuk piques my interest, but I would want more than Galchenyuk for O'Reilly. You know, and then you look on their back end, it's not that great. I really like Victor Mete, but would they want to trade him because their defense is pretty weak? And you know, trading Victor Mete or Noah Juleson, it's like cutting your nose off to spite your face. You already have a hole on your defense, and you're trading them to fix another hole. You know, it sucks. You know, for them at least because you had PK Subban, you had Ryan McDonough once upon a time, and you had Mikhail Sergachev, and they're all gone, which is funny. Sucks for you, Montreal. But anyways, I think Carolina is more likely, but I think Bob brought this up. Would they be willing to pay O'Reilly his big money? That's the thing, because in actual dollars, O'Reilly's making like $10 million, I think, this year, either last year or this year. And on July 1st, I believe he's due for a huge signing bonus. So if I had to guess, they would have to wait until after July 1st to make the move, because O'Reilly would get his signing bonus on July 1st, and then pretty much he makes like no money the whole year. And that's something like a team like Carolina would love. They're a budget team. And if they could dodge a bullet paying O'Reilly that much money and then not have to pay him, that'd be huge for Carolina, I think. And I never gave thought to, I don't know, the Sabres ever potentially retaining any salary on O'Reilly, but you know, I can see it happening now because, like, imagine if they retain, I don't know, $1 million. Like, that's more value coming back to you in a trade.
Right, and I think if it has to be done, then it will be done in the end. I think that
in an ideal world, you don't want to retain any money on O'Reilly, but you know, if you have to get the most value out of it, you know, you have to pull the trigger.
If the deal is there, then you got to do it.
As the great Tim Murray said, if you have a deal you like, you take it.
Tim Murray also said,
did not like the right deals. Yeah, he's not going to get his pee-pee slapped by me, if I remember correctly. Okay, Just like Ristolainen, scale 1 to 10, what do you think for O'Reilly getting traded?
I'm going to say a hard 6.
I'm going to go 8.5.
It's just there's been no really credible rumors, I feel like. Nothing serious enough. I'm hard to impress when it comes to trade rumors, okay?
When Bob McKenzie says the Sabres are intent on trading him, he's gone. Bob McKenzie knows stuff. Like he
could know that we want to trade him, but he hasn't said anything about potential suitors yet.
So until I hear to make a trade.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the Sabres are very intent on trading Matt Moulson. The Sabres are very intent on trading Matt Moulson, but that doesn't mean anybody is going to come calling and take him off our hands. Good point.
That's true.
Okay. May draft rankings. I posted this on the chargingbuffalo.net yesterday. Check it out if you haven't already. A lot of work going into it. Appreciate if you would click on it, give it a nice rundown. Should I go over the top 10?
Sure. Yeah.
Top 10, maybe like the bottom 5 of the first round, because those guys could potentially be sliding to Buffalo. Of course, to no surprise, Rasmus Dahlin, number 1. Andrei Svechnikov, number 2 of the Barrie Colts. Filip Zadina, number 3. Quinn Hughes, number 4. So pretty much no change going from April to May. But the big change at number 5, where Oliver Wahlstrom. I love this kid. If Buffalo can somehow trade up and get Oliver Wahlstrom, I'd probably be the happiest guy on earth. Because, you walk out of the draft with Rasmus Dahlin and Oliver Wahlstrom. Oliver Wahlstrom, I think this guy is going to be I said this in my piece. He's going to be the Casey Middlestat of this draft. I have no doubt about it. Because, if you look at Casey Middlestat, if you're like, oh, well, why did he go 8th? People are going to be scratching their heads saying, how did Oliver Wahlstrom slide to 8 or 9? Because this guy, he can rip the puck. He's got probably the best release in the draft. I don't think there's any contest there. And he's going to either BC or Michigan next year. And if he goes to Michigan, they're going to have Quinn Hughes, possibly Jack Hughes, Oliver Wahlstrom, and Bodie Wild as well. I mean, just hand them the national championship. Just hand it to them. That's just not even fair. And Wahlstrom and Jack Hughes played on a line together for the U18 national development team as well, and that's when Oliver Wahlstrom played his best, when Jack Hughes was a center.
I really hope to get to watch more college hockey this season. I never know what.
I did not get to watch enough this year, and that upsetted me. But you know what? It is what it is.
I know there's the Big Ten Network and ESPN. Those channels are hard to find, and so just skips over your head.
Yeah. But next on the list, Adam Boqvist. I've talked about him a lot on the show. Brady Tkachuk, I just, if you look at the other forwards ahead of Tkachuk, they are what you need in the modern day NHL. Fast, skilled, and they can score pretty much. And I'm not saying that Tkachuk isn't fast, isn't skilled, and can't score, but there's a noticeable drop-off from Oliver Wahlstrom talent-wise to Brady Tkachuk. It's not even close. If you compare Oliver Wahlstrom and Brady Tkachuk in every category, Wahlstrom probably wins in just about all of them, except for character and grit and toughness and physicality, the stuff that mattered 15 years ago. I'm sorry, but I don't care if the guy's a Bills fan. I really don't.
The stuff that
Oliver Wahlstrom, yes, truculence. Oliver Wahlstrom's a better player than Brady Tkachuk. Sue me. I don't care. It's the truth. But moving on, Evan Bouchard, London Knights defenseman, had a big year for them, 80-plus points. And then Ty Smith and then Noah Dobson rounding out the top 10. And I'll go over some guys that could probably be options for Buffalo at 32. You got Martin Kaut, played for the Czech Republic at the World Junior Championships in Buffalo. Really eye-opening. He opened the eyes of a lot of scouts, fans at that tournament. Played with Martin Necas and Filip Zadina in that tournament. Played very well. And I think he's playing at the World Championships as well, which is pretty good for him. Then you got Johnny Tyconic. What's an episode of the Charging Buffalo podcast without me name dropping my boy Johnny Tyconic? Going to the University of North Dakota next year. He's going to have a big year. I think this guy's a sleeper pick. And then you got Jonathan Bergeron. I think this guy had a fantastic World Under-18 championship. And I think he blew away the junior Swedish league. Blew it away. I'm going to see how many points he had. It's phenomenal stuff that he put up. Yeah, 57 points in 38 games. That's fantastic. I really hope we can walk away with that guy, but probably not. He should be a first-round pick, but he's probably not going to be a first-round pick, which is unfortunate for him, but he's not the biggest guy. And Dominic Bach, I think Bach and Berggren are similar players, but Dominic Bach, he can just rip the puck. He's got one of the best shots in the draft. If Dominic Bach is sitting there in Buffalo's lap at 32, you take Dominic Bach. There's no other way to put it. German sniper, he's going to be a good player. Blew away the junior Swedish league this year. And yeah, Keandre Miller, big defenseman, smooth skater, and he can level the body too. I really like Keandre Miller. Ryan McLeod, brother of Michael McLeod, former New Jersey Devil first-round pick in 2016. Just like his brother, is fast. He can put the puck in the net. I really like him as a prospect. And then rounding out the top 31, you got Matthias Samuelsson, big defenseman. He played alongside Bodie Wild for a bit for the development team. Yeah, I think, if he's sitting there at 32 and, Bach, Bergeron, Tyconic, those guys aren't there, he'd be a can't-miss pick. And then there's some other guys, Philip Hallander, and this is another one that could possibly be an option. I really like, what's his name, Kalen Addison. I also like, Alan McShane. I think he's a really good prospect as well. So those are just some names to keep in the back of your mind for Buffalo's second-round pick if they don't trade it. And now we're going to get into some questions. We'll start with Twitter.
All right.
I think this is the first time we're taking Twitter questions, so this should be interesting.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
These are all of your questions. Yeah.
Fantastic questions this time around. You guys killed it. Okay, here we go. Pulling it up right now. Here we go. Okay, we got 9 questions on the Twitter. So John asks, with pick 32, do you think Bach will be there? And if that happens, would you want him in the SHL or WHL Prince Albert, who has his rights? Thank you guys for all you do. I enjoy reading / listening. Well, we appreciate that, John.
Thank you.
If Dominic Bach is there, I think he is a pretty easy pick. That's assuming that everybody above him on my list is off the board, which is certainly possible. Now, as far as him staying in the SHL or going to the WHL, I mean, it's a tough call. But I think probably the best for his development would be in Sweden, I would say, playing against men. Of course, but, sometimes it just doesn't work out for guys. He played a little bit for Vecchio in the SHL this year, and it just didn't really work out for him. He played much better against his peers in junior. So maybe him going over to the WHL would work out for him. Because sometimes just guys aren't ready. And I look at Alex Nylander as a perfect example of that. He probably should have gone back to junior instead of going to the AHL. Probably need another year under his belt. So maybe going to the WHL Prince Albert Raiders would be the best option for him. And, you never know with these guys, but right now, I'd say maybe going to WHL wouldn't be a bad idea for him. Thanks for that question. We appreciate it. Zach asks, who do we pick at 32? We went over a lot of the guys. You really can't go wrong with anything at 32. There's a lot of guys who should be first-round picks, who are perfectly capable of being first-round picks that will be available. I like Dominic Bach a lot at 32. If you haven't realized that already. Should Dahlin play the left or right side? Probably going right out the gate, Dahlin will be playing the left side because, obviously he's played the right side in the past in Sweden, but the NHL is a different animal. It's going to be he's going to have to take some time to adjust his game before to the North American ice before he can, make the transition to playing right defense in a completely new league. Uh, who will be the fourth and third line center if O'Reilly goes? If O'Reilly goes, you have to add a veteran center. You know what I mean? You need somebody that's capable of playing, second line minutes. I don't think you want to throw Casey Middlestat into the deep end right away. I don't know about what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that's why you have a guy like Zemgus Girgensons around. Who this is? Are we talking second? This second line here we're talking about, right?
Line, yes. Yeah.
Second line. I mean, Girgensons has played up there before. Lots of people don't like his play, but I think Girgensons can still be serviceable. I think he still has a role
on this team. Girgensons is playing on the second line. There's a huge problem.
That there's a depth problem there, but I mean, there's still guys.
You look at the free agent class: Paul Stastny, Tyler Bozak. Those are two guys that kind of pique my interest a little bit.
Stastny is going to stay in Winnipeg. Bozak,
that's what I would guess. I don't think Toronto can afford to keep Bozak.
I don't think Bozak comes here though. I don't think he defects from.
Yeah, you go to a contender if you're Tyler Bozak.
Yeah, he's
probably comes from a trade. Now. I look at a guy like Victor Rask in Carolina as maybe even potentially a part of O'Reilly trade. He's perfectly capable of playing second line minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only getting paid $4 million. That's not that bad for a second, third line guy. Who is your favorite UFA goaltender that can replace Robin Lehner for a safer 1A, 1B situation with Allmark? That comes from Matt. You look at guys that are available this summer. Carter Hutton, Jonathan Bernier, and then RFAs. There's Philip Grubauer. So those are three guys that potentially could be a replacement to Robin Lehner. Obviously Philip Grubauer would probably be my number one, but what is it going to take to give up to get a guy like that? Depending on the price, of course I would go Philip Grubauer, but if the price is just too much, like if you have to give up the second round pick, just go out and sign Jonathan Bernier, because I think he's a perfect tandem goalie for Buffalo.
Now, I mean, I'm looking just at a list of just FAs right now that are coming up. There's not a lot of guys here who can start. I mean, Kari Lehtonen can platoon. He's coming up.
No thanks.
No, I'm not saying I'm saying that he can be part of a platoon of goaltenders.
Mm-hmm.
But underneath him, there's pretty much nothing attractive. Michael Hutchinson.
Maybe
him. Anton Dobin coming up too.
I bet he stays in Boston though. I wouldn't be surprised.
He has a great role in Boston. I think he'd really be risking his future trying to be a starter elsewhere or just coming here and platooning.
He's a good backup. That's exactly
very good backup.
Yeah.
But there's a line there that he needs to stay behind, if you will.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. One comes from Andrew. He says, which forwards will most likely be able to make the jump next season and have an impact and stick around? CJ Smith, Sean Malone, O'Regan, Baptiste Bailey, Nylander, other? Tough to say because we don't know what moves are going to be made to bring in forwards on the team. But as of right now, I would say Sean Malone, Danny O'Regan have a really good chance of playing in Buffalo next year as the fourth line center. I think Baptiste play late in the season. He groomed his game to be kind of a depth guy, bottom six forward, better defensively. I think he has a great chance of making the team. Probably one of Baptiste or Bailey. I think CJ Smith is a lock just because, there's nothing on the left side. And he should have made the team out of camp. And, one thing that I am going to be firm on talking about this team, if a player shows up at camp and is good enough to be on this team next year, they have to be on the team next year because I watched CJ Smith very closely in training camp and in preseason last year, and he should have made the team, and he didn't. But, the last year, forget about it. That was a development year, and that was probably the right decision to send him back, but you cannot do that again. This year, with these guys, if Justin Bailey comes up in preseason and is dominant and is proving that he should be in the NHL, you play Justin Bailey in the NHL. And if he starts slipping like he usually does, you just send him back. Like, it's simple as that. You have to do what you gotta do to win at this point.
If I may take a question from Instagram here, can I?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, this is from Dave the K. Defensive free agents. Who should we target? I think Toby Enstrom would be a nice fit, as well as Alexei Emelin from the Nashville Predators.
Can Enstrom still skate, though? I haven't
I
been able to
think
watch.
so. He was injured a lot this year, I know.
Yeah.
Emelin was kind of...
I would stay away from Emelin. I don't know.
So. He I mean, as a bottom pairing guy, I don't think he'd be that harmful.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think they're going to sign any defensive. They have too many guys as it is right now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's just too many. Maybe like a depth guy, like, I don't know, it's like somebody like Justin Falk that isn't Justin Falk, if that makes any sense. Like somebody who you can just stash in Rochester and bring up. Like I would want to bring Zach Redmond back as that guy. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. He was fantastic in Rochester, one of their best players. Yeah, but I don't think they need to add any defensemen in addition to what they have now. They need to subtract, if anything, and maybe like make a trade to upgrade one of their guys. Like you can't bring in any extra guys. There's just too many. There's like 10 guys that would be on the roster next year. There's too many. Okay, but anyways, moving on. I believe yes. Mike asks, do you think the Sabres would be a good fit for Michael Grabner? Add speed, wing depth, and PK ability. Absolutely, I would love to have Michael Grabner on the team next year. He'll probably he'd probably be willing to take a short-term deal, 1 or 2 years, and I don't think it'd cost that much money, maybe $3-4 million. Perfectly fine with me if Michael Grabner's on the team. What about you?
I like Michael Grabner, nice veteran there, speed. I'm all about speed. We need speed. This team needs to get faster, and we're not going to be good until we get faster. And Grabner, I think, has had enough success in this league where he'd be a nice dark horse guy to sign to bring some production and a nice change of pace to whatever line he's on.
And he can score, too. I think he scored 20 goals multiple times. He was fantastic with the Rangers the last 2 years, came to the Devils. I don't know how good he did there. I didn't really watch much of him. But, he's a player. He's a good player. And, if Buffalo was able to sign him, I'd be excited. Okay, and then John comes at us again. He says, I assume it's already in the works or been decided that Dahlin will have a parent come over with him, too. Should the club target a veteran Swede, someone to help him acclimate to the change? Do you think the club should or will shield him from the media as well? I would assume that they would find a family for him to stay with, but I think Laine did this. I think his mom came over to Winnipeg with him and lived with him for the year.
Yep.
But there's probably got to be a Swedish family out there that'd be willing to take him in. Any family for that matter. Like if Dahlin wanted to stay at my house, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Come on in.
I got an extra room. You can sleep on my floor. It's all good. Yeah.
Sleep in my bed.
I'll sleep on the floor. No. Yes, he can sleep. I'll sleep on the floor. You can sleep in my bed.
Yeah, I'll give you my bed. I have a beanbag chair right now. I could fit into that.
Targeting a veteran Swede, though. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I know. I was looking up. I looked up Andre Suster. He's Czech. I thought it was to see, but
I don't know. Really that could be intriguing because Oscar Klefbom count as a veteran Swede? Possibly?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, he's been around a while.
2011 first round pick, Oscar Klefbom.
Yeah, him. I mean, I know. Hey, Robin Lehner has a family.
Oh, yeah, that makes it Robin Lehner. You can live with Robin Lehner. Yeah.
Johan Larsson, he's here.
No, if Johan Larsson is still on the team next year, I'm moving away.
He's here another year. He has a contract. Year left. Yeah, that could be. I mean, to play.
They can just send him to Robida Island.
I should just say he has to play. I mean, just
send him to Robida Island.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, and then a different John.
We just need him to get rent paid from Dahlin. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then different John. He says, Other John, thanks for those questions. We appreciate your support. Other John asks, how much slack should we be giving Nylander? So I think Nylander, like fans are being a little tough on him, and I mean, like it's justifiably so because like he had a really, really rough year last year, really rough year, and of course he had that groin injury in training camp, and that it sucks. Stuff like that happens, and he was just not the same after it. I don't know if they rushed him back too early. Like they were supposed to be out. He was supposed to be out like now 2-3 weeks, and he was out for like 2-3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they should have just sidelined him a little longer because like he was supposed to be competing for a spot in Buffalo, and then all of a sudden he comes back to Rochester. He's starting on the fourth line. He's got to make his way back up. But I wouldn't be surprised if Nylander's competing spot on the team out of camp next year because I know this guy is hungry and wants to be in the NHL next year, and I think he certainly has the talent to do it, but does he have the will and the heart to do it? That's the real question.
Mm-hmm. I guess I wasn't that impressed with his work in the big club towards
he
the end
was
of the year
fine. I thought he was fine. He wasn't terrible by any means.
You still see the raw parts of his game though. That if you're gonna be,
he's got stuff to work on. He's 20. I mean, like people are giving up on him. Or I own 2 Alex Nylander jerseys for crying out loud. I'm not giving up on him. But it's disappointing. Like you're watching the playoffs and Mikhail Sergachev is scoring goals, and Charlie McAvoy had another good season, another strong playoff run with Boston. It sucks. Like there's impact players that were drafted after him that are doing well, and Nylander's struggling in the AHL at a horrifically bad playoff run and is inconsistent. So I think he can work it out. I really do, and I hope he does. I think fans have been tough on him, and is that deserved? Yeah, because he should be better. He's 20. He's a top prospect. He should be doing better in the AHL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we'll get to some Instagram questions. We're going to have to pick and choose here. We're going really much longer than we thought. We talked about O'Reilly. Free agents. They're not going to draft Quinn Hughes first overall. Sorry. I really do like Quinn Hughes, though, but they're not going to draft him first overall. Chances of trading for a top 5 pick. Slim to none. I really
zero.
Doubt that a team would be willing to trade out of the top 5. Maybe if that Edmonton trade happens where they can trade to 10 and then maybe, sweeten the pot a little bit, move up a few spots, but I highly doubt that. Okay, and then Stabby5 asks, worst decision. Taylor Hall for Adam Larson, Martin Erat for Philip Forsberg, or Florida letting Marchessault and Smith go to Vegas. And he says credit to this John guy for the question. So what would you say?
I say, Erat for Forsberg.
Yeah, I agree. Erat for Forsberg is one of the worst trades of all time. That is it's just mind-blowing how bad that trade is.
Forsberg.
Philip Forsberg is going to be in Nashville for many, many, many more years. And Martin Erat was in Washington for a cup of coffee, and I think he might have scored like 1 goal. If Washington won the cup that year, maybe that's different. Like you can still have the silver lining. Oh yeah, we won the cup, but like you still don't have Philip Forsberg, which is hilarious. I
thought Erat played like 9 games, and then next season he screwed off to the Czech league. I thought that's how it went.
So. No, he went to the Coyotes.
Oh yes. Wow!
He played for the tanking Coyotes. Yes, I remember. He was terrible. My goodness. Now he's playing on a line Martin Necas, Brno in the Czech Republic. Fun fact. Alex says chances on a scale of 1 to 10 landing John Tavares. We did this for O'Reilly and Ristolainen as well. 0. I'll give it a 2.
Okay.
2. Yeah. No, a 1.
1.
1.5. 1.5. I'll be a little generous. Allison asks, why would we want to get rid of the best face-off guy in the league? He's slow.
Well,
you need to make change. Like you can't. People are afraid of change, and that makes sense. But like you can't just roll out the same team every year and hope that things change because you know what, things aren't going to change.
You can't keep a guy if he just if he's just one dimensional.
Yeah.
And Ryan Riley scores. He does. He does a lot of things right.
He had a good year last year. I mean, he had a rough start, but he still had 60 points.
And it's just about getting a bang for your buck. And when it comes down to it, you look at the assets we have player wise, and he is probably the most attractive. So that's why you get rid of him.
I think Ristolainen would have more value on the trade market because his contract isn't terrible, but I think they'd be more eager to trade O'Reilly. Okay, and then Max asks, should the Sabres sign Sam Reinhart long-term or to a bridge deal? They could probably get him on a reasonable cap hit if they go long-term. Looking at the Predators and how they keep getting their young players on great deals, take the chance on the long-term deal. What do you think about that? You look at Victor Arvidsson. He signed that long-term deal. Like, I don't know. I don't have the contract in front of me, but it's a great contract. Roman Josi on a great contract. Ryan Ellis on a great contract. Matthias Ekholm on a great contract. They take the chances on these guys when they're young, assuming that they're going to be good and going long-term instead of a bridge deal. I think Max brings that up. I think that's probably a good idea. Take the chance. 7 years, $4.75 million for Reinhart. That's if that deal's on the table, I think you should take it. And maybe Reinhart takes that deal too. Of course, he would probably want to battle for more money in that case, but there's always the chance that you got the job security. You got 7 years, and $4.5 million is still a lot of money. Maybe he would take it. I don't know.
I'm all for the bridge deal, just because.
But then you look at PK Subban. He took the bridge deal, and then he wins the Norris Trophy, and then he's the highest paid defenseman in the league. So what if Sam Reinhart signs a 2-year deal, and then he scores, 70 points, and then 80 points, and then you got to pay him 8 instead of 4.75,
Yeah. You can't go based on what ifs. I think you got to go based on what you've gotten so far.
If they're confident that the Sam Reinhart in the second half of last season is the Sam Reinhart you're going to get for the next many years, go for the long-term deal. Go for the long-term. I mean, it's a risk worth taking. Because, worst case scenario, if Sam Reinhart is on your third line making $5 million, it's not that bad. The cap is going up steadily every year.
Right.
It's not going to be a bad contract if you sign him that long for that amount of money.
Yeah.
If you're giving Reinhart a long-term deal like that, you're not paying him $8 million. That's just not happening. And Reinhart likes it in Buffalo, to my knowledge. So maybe he would take a long-term deal.
Plus, I think him being close with Jack it'll go a lot further than people think in getting him re-signed.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks for that question, Max. We appreciate that one. Dante asks, what can we do to improve the third and fourth lines? Because those were abysmal last year. Pray that Justin Bailey, Nick Baptiste, CJ Smith, our prospects can actually contribute. That's all you can say. You got to draft well in the later rounds. You need more speed in the bottom six. That for one. Johan Larsson has to be out of here. That's my number one. Adios, Johan.
My number one is speed and less focus on, in fact, no focus on quote grit, unquote. I say quote because those are not my words. I do not say that word. I think less focus on that and more focus on speed and skill. And it's very vague, I know, but if you know it, you know it. You get what I mean? If you know that speed and skill when you see it.
Yeah. And look at the Winnipeg fourth line. Brandon Tanev, Adam Lowry, and I forget the other one on the line, but that's a great fourth line. I remember I watched Andrew Copp. I watched that. I watched game 1 of the Nashville series. That was a great performance by them. I love that fourth line. If Buffalo can replicate that in any way, I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
Scott Wilson, that's a great step because he's fast. He's an energy player. He can chip in offensively here and there. You need players like that.
I will say this is my episodic praise to Scotty Wilson. I love Scotty Wilson. Oh man.
Good player. Fifth round pick, it's a solid pickup from Detroit. Okay, then we get a few more questions about Carolina. Should they get Jeff Skinner from Nate, Joe, and Bill? No, not Bill. Adam. We'll get to Bill last. Jeff Skinner, I would love to have Jeff Skinner on team, but he has 1 year left. That's in a no move clause. So he would have to decide if he wants to come here or not. And would he extend? That's the big thing. I don't think I'd trade O'Reilly for Skinner 1-for-1 because Skinner is great. I really like Jeff Skinner, but he's got 1 year left, and then you could lose him for nothing. So then it's like you're getting nothing for Ryan O'Reilly.
Right.
And then Bill. Always love Bill's support. He says, honestly, can we just compete for a playoff spot next season? Easier said than done, but we'll end off on that. We appreciate all the support we've been getting as of late from you guys. We appreciate all the questions. If you enjoyed, we'd love to hear your feedback. Slide into our DMs on Instagram. Tweet us. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Charging Buff. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeTCBNHL. Where can they find you?
I am Luke TCB. That is LVKE on Twitter. Yes.
Okay, and if anything happens next week, we will be sure to record a podcast, but it's the off season right now. There's not much to talk about. Maybe some more.
We go by the listener's request, pretty much. That's how this episode
we've been getting a lot of requests for
when the demand is there, we supply.
Supply and demand. Economics 101.
Yep.
So we'll be back. Within the next 2-3 weeks, we'll be sure to get one out for you guys. But we'll see you in the next one. See ya.
Bye, everyone.